My dad's full name was José Daniel Mauleón Carvajal. He was born in Tlacotalpan, Veracruz. He was a very tall man, and he was the middle of 3 kids. And that's about all that I know about him. A few months after I was born, my dad moved to Texas, and some say that he left in search of a better life, and some others say that he was trying to escape a responsibility. Now, thankfully, the world will never know. Everything I know about my dad has been told to me. He liked Mexican rock. He was in the Mexican army, although he went to prison for a couple of months because he abandoned his duties in the army. The man was a coward of sorts. He ran away as much as he could. In 2007, at the age of 32, my dad passed away from a heart attack. A heart attack that was allegedly caused by an overdose. I never had the opportunity to talk to him or ask him questions. Questions like, hey, how are you? Hey, what's going on? Hey, what the fuck is wrong with you? Never had the chance to ask, will never have the chance to ask. He's dead, he's gone, it's not gonna happen. And for that reason, if you have something to tell somebody, ask them a question or just curse them out, do it. Right now, call them and tell them to fuck off. Do not wait, because people overdose all the time. All the time. If my dad had a drug addiction, he was also probably an alcoholic. And the worst thing is that I don't know what his drink of choice was. I don't even know what his drug of choice was. If I had to guess, I would say my dad was probably a beer drinker. I think he was too much of a coward to drink hard liquor. Now, while my dad was in Texas living la vida loca, and I assume that's what he was doing, he never said otherwise, I was back in Mexico, in Tlacotalpan. And oddly enough, I grew up in the same house as my dad did. When my dad left, my mom, my sister, and I stayed with his parents, Grandma Manuela and Grandpa Pancho. For me, mi abuelito Pancho was the paternal figure. My dad was not. Now, everyone says my grandfather was an impressive figure with his kids. He was violent, he was very strict, he was a macho of sorts. The kind that would say that men don't cry. But I never knew him to be like that. To me, mi abuelito Pancho was a fisherman. When I was little, he used to take me on boat trips to fish. He would buy me cookies and chips, and then he would tie me to the boat to ensure that I wouldn't jump onto the river. And he would fish while I would eat. His boat had my sister's name written on it. He used to also take me on bike rides around the town. He would sit me on the back of his bike and he would just bike around for my amusement. It was a small town, so most people had bikes instead of cars, okay? It was actually very common, but it was a lot of fun. And this one time, my mom had to go get me out of a cantina, a bar, where he had taken me to drink with his friends. She says that when she arrived, I was just sitting next to him as he drank with his friends. And that story to me is amusing. He liked Cerveza Sol, and a liquor that is made out of fermented sugar cane. And we grow sugar canes in very close to Tlacotalpan, so it's very cheap. I have memories of picking my grandfather out of the streets because he was too drunk. I once tried to give him a haircut because he was too intoxicated to stop me. So my mom stopped me. In 2005, mi abuelito Pancho passed away of heart complications caused by his drinking. I was 7 at the time. My dad and my grandfather clashed, but they were actually very similar. They were both cowards that would run away at the first chance. I met both of them very briefly, but they both taught me a very important lesson: to be an alcoholic. I'm kidding. They actually taught me the importance of staying present. Now, my choice of drink is tequila or dessert-like drinks like an espresso martini. I quit beer, but if I had to drink a beer, it would probably be a Tecate. I didn't start drinking until I was like 22, so I think I'm still pretty new in the drinking game. Unlike my dad, who probably started drinking when he was like 15. My dad was never present in my life. I don't have anecdotes with him. And that is a grief that I've learned to put under the carpet and never talk about it. But it hurts. It hurts. His absence hurts like hell. My grandfather, on the other hand, was there for a very brief period of time. And I think whatever time he spent with me shaped me into the person that I am today. And then he died. And it hurts. It hurts like hell. It hurts. Cowards. Both of them, they both died. And I had to stay here and deal with the aftermath of their absence. Now, Tlacotalpan is a small town full of tradition. One tradition that is full of joy and meaning that everyone loves is to have funerals at home. I saw my grandfather's and my dad's caskets both in the living room of my house, and on the day of their burial, I walked them to the cemetery, and I laid them to rest eternally. It was the end for them, but it was just the beginning for me, the beginning of their absence. And I didn't feel it back then, but it hurt. It hurt. It went from respect of the dead to grief, to sadness, to anger. And then at some point, the memories with my grandfather were not enough to carry me around anymore. Eventually, I understood that my dad and my grandfather fell victims of a circle of expectations, one that society imposes on people. My grandpa was the father of 3 kids, and he probably was not prepared for that. But back then, it is what was expected of him. He had to be a strong man, a macho that would take care of his kids. And probably his father was not great either. My dad was definitely not prepared to be a father. The man was a teenager until the day of his death, at 32. He was unable to understand responsibility. And the son of a bitch had 5 kids. 5! That's insane! Only because that is what was expected of him. Now the cycle ends right here. Even the kitty is paid in this house. No one is having kids in this household until we can understand how to be parents. No more fucked up children in this house. I wish my dad and my grandpa would have spared a thought for me, but they didn't, because probably nobody spared a thought for them. I will, however, spare a thought for the next kid, because the same way I probably inherited my parents' alcoholism, I also probably inherited their bad parenting habits. Now, sitting here in the wagon of the abandoned kids, I think a lot about what my life would have been like had my father or my grandfather stayed. And maybe things played out the way they were supposed to. Maybe it was for the better. Yet, I don't think there's anything that could fill in the void that they left. But that is life for you. You can't have everything. Sometimes stories are meant to remain inconclusive because these stories are generations in the making. Patterns are meant to be repeated. Alcoholism, abandoning kids, moving to shitty states. Sometimes people don't mean to hurt others, but it is all they know, all they've learned. So look at me. Listen to me. If you can stop the pattern or prevent it, do it. Do not just repeat it because it's what you were set up for.